ada buat top 8 kita orang. Sebab bila hujung musim ni nanti, korang boleh guna ni sebagai ukuran untuk betapa tepatnya kita orang dalam kita buat kita punya sasaran ataupun target top 8 untuk Premier League. Dan menariknya, kita bertiga, all three of us have actually got our list of top 8 teams. I hear Paul Robinson's one is quite exciting to see what he has predicted for the top 8. So, jom, let's take a look at the top 8 for Paul, me and Ellie. Let's have a look. Okay, so that's mine. We'll start with mine first. I have Man City to win the title. From Liverpool in second place, Spurs third with the summer signings that they've had. I think Conte's built them so well. Look at the game they played against Southampton, they were brilliant. Chelsea at fourth. I still feel Chelsea will be... Why are you smirking at me, Ellie?
I'm smirking at Paul's face, man. The amount of disrespect, but it's okay.
The amount of disrespect. I mean, we both got Arsenal to finish fifth. Isn't that where you should be?
Shut up.
And West Ham at 6, I still think they've got what it takes. They've signed well as well. They've got Skamaka up there to help out with Antonio. They still have Bowen. Man United 7th, I think, is not a surprise to most people. And I think Newcastle are going to be 8th.
Why is that? Is that because you're a Newcastle fan?
I mean, that's one.
Do you know what? I think they've recruited excellently well. I really do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think he's at the risk of going off topic. I think he signed players to keep them in the league. And I think he's signed players now that will take them to the next level.
Exactly.
They've not just gone and spent money for the sake of spending money. I think they've recruited excellently well.
Yeah, and we're not done yet, Paul. We still, I think, the latest that's come out from Sky Sports today is, I think they mentioned Goncalo Ramos from Benfica, the guy who partnered Darwin Núñez.
And I still think they're looking at Jack Harrison at Leeds as well.
Exactly, Jack Harrison. I think Conor Gallagher is the latest one. Okay, we're not talking about Newcastle now. We want to know about Ellie.
No, let's go through your list first.
Hey,
like,
list.
why do you think... Like,
Okay. Ask me.
West Ham... Like,
West Ham? Why do you think West Ham?
Just explain us like through the rankings, like why Man City instead of Liverpool again for this year?
Because they've strengthened they're strong. I mean, look at them. Okay, if you're looking at the Community Shield as an argument as to whether they would win the title, I don't think that's what it is, because it's consistency in the league, right? It's how many games you win at the end of the day. And I just see Man City winning most of their games. Like, the result Liverpool got against Fulham, we don't know at the end of the season, come game week 38, how much that is going to have implication on their title challenge for this season.
Was won by 1 point
exactly.
last year.
Yeah.
So it's been so tight, and it's happened more than once or twice, right, Ellie? What do you think of my prediction, Paul?
I don't think you're far off.
See?
Looking at your top 5, top 6, I completely agree. We're exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think Manchester City. I mean, I watched Liverpool against Fulham, and they didn't look like they were quite in top gear, not just yet. Whereas we watched Manchester City, Haaland hit the ground running. You see the way that he runs in behind, got his goal, the way he took his penalty. And then the thing for Manchester City, they made 5 substitutions, and look at the substitutes they brought on.
Yeah.
Liverpool at the moment, yes, I know they've got a couple of injuries, there are a couple of players short, but I think they're going to be light in midfield. Thiago's injured now until the World Cup, so that's a huge miss for them.
That's so true, and that's one surprise signing. That's one surprise to me that they didn't actually go for someone.
I think his hand might be forced now. I think he may be forced to go into the market before the end of the window because of that injury, because he's such a key player. You can't rely on Keita to stay fit the whole season. So I think in that area, Liverpool may be a little bit light in midfield. So I think he may go for another midfielder. But I think watching Manchester City and then watching the changes that they made, you know, Silva coming off the bench, Mahrez coming off the bench, Calvin Phillips coming off the bench, John Stones not coming on at all. The strength in depth that they've got is frightening.
I'm just surprised that you didn't put Newcastle in your list, though.
There's no Newcastle and Manchester United.
So you think we're going to finish 9th or 10th?
Newcastle, Man United, 9th, 10th, around there.
Because that's what most pundits went for.
It was a little bit controversial for the Manchester United one, just because they were so poor. Listen, I could have put them 7th, I could have put them 8th, but I thought, do you know what? The way they started at the weekend, if we did this again at the end of the transfer window and things were a little bit more settled, or maybe put Manchester United 7, 8. But honestly, I can't see them challenging the top 4 or 5.
And I agree with you 100%. And everyone's talking about Arsenal this season, right? So let's go through your list, Ellie.
Okay, so my only argument why Liverpool is the head of City is because I think the strength of the team that we've seen last season was there. And we knew how they always were head-to-head with Manchester City, except that they have like a very good additional to their attack team up there, which is Núñez, and probably they're going to bring in another one striker, I hear. But that's my only argument why Liverpool had to be City. And I just want to be the only one odd out, because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to put City for obvious reasons.
Come on, Ellie.
Yeah, but just, just for discussions,
you
right?
know we're going to put City, so you should have put City.
No,
right?
I don't have to. And also City... I felt like Bernardo Silva is such an important engine to them, so I don't know whether he's going to be around, but no one can doubt Pep's ability in, like performing consistency on the pitch that no other teams can probably come into bracket. So, yes, City and Liverpool can share place.
For obvious reasons.
But my producer wouldn't allow me to put 1/2, so I have to put it in order. Like the amount of disrespect Paul has to put Arsenal below Chelsea.
I mean, it's not disrespect, it's honesty, right? Like, yeah, you've recruited well.
Realistic expectation, yes. But I cannot foresee United finishing above Chelsea, but I can't foresee Spurs finishing below Chelsea for some reasons, because I really, really believe in Conte's ability to really elevate the level of the team performance throughout the whole season.
You think that Spurs will finish above Chelsea,
but
only because you support Arsenal?
You put Arsenal just mind a gap. Anyway.
I've got a question for you, Paul. Like, sorry, Ellie, just a very quick one. I got a question for you, Paul. You think Aston Villa is going to finish 7th despite their opening defeat to Bournemouth? And I know we're not just using one game.
Yeah.
But when you look at Steven Gerrard's win ratio this season, right, it's not far off from what Frank Lampard has done with Everton. So
then you look at there was a graphic going around on social media that was compared it to the Gary Neville time at Valencia.
That's even worse.
In a similar way. It was good. I like what he's done there. I like the players he's got. And I think knowing him as a person, knowing him as a player, I think the attitude that he's got, what he can put on to his players, and I do think they can achieve. I think they underachieved last year, and I think they went under the radar a little bit.
It's true.
Because they slipped down the league without people realising where they actually finished up last year.
Yeah.
He came in, they started really well, they picked up a few points, but then I think they slid down the table.
They did.
And he will not let that go under the radar. He will know what's gone on, and he'll be looking to put that right. I think with the coaching team that he's got around him, I think with the players that he's got, I think they'll have maybe 1 or 2 more additions. He's made a big statement already this season by taking the captaincy off Tyrone Mings.
Yeah.
That, for me, turns around and he goes, well, you're not good enough.
Exactly.
You need to be better.
Yeah.
So that straight away is a big statement from a manager. He's given the captaincy to McGinn, I think it is, that he's given it to.
Yeah.
So straight away he's gone to Mings, you haven't performed, you're not the captain. So I think that maybe that attitude that he'll have around the players might just push them on a little bit this year.
And I think Tyrone Mings took it pretty well as well, right? Like, it's...
Well, what else could he say?
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to say anything else, is he? He's probably at home kicking.
But I just want to know why, like, you, Bern and Paul, like, both do not have Brighton in your top 8.
I want to know from you. Okay, this is what I want to know from you,
I just
Ellie.
want to understand why.
Brighton?
Yeah.
Because Brighton have lost 2 key players from their squad. They've lost Kukurea,
And
they've
look how
lost...
they performed at Old Trafford, though.
They've lost Yi Bissouma. To me, these 2 players are very essential players for Brighton.
They've never had a good striker for the last 2 years.
And
they've
But
played
that means
so
they're only
well.
going to probably... Okay, let's say if they bring it... But just how they are...
I mean, given Graham Potter is one of the best
football?
managers, I think he's probably the best England manager right now. English manager.
I think they've got to a level they can't get any better than what they're at. Unless they're going to put more money into the team.
Yeah.
The amount of times that I covered the games for the media last year and we watched the game, they were good. They dominated the game. How did they lose that? How did they not score? How did they draw?
Exactly.
They draw too many games, they don't score enough goals.
So the past 2 seasons, they've always been underperforming their XG and all that, right? But now they do get good money selling these 2 players. And I think for the fact that they finished record high last season, 9th, right?
Yeah.
And that's like probably their best.
I think they've got...
I can't foresee them finishing below 9.
Yeah. And I think they've got spells within the season where they actually lose a few games and things like that. This happened to Brighton.
But what I see in that Brighton game is the kind of footballing style that Potter just like how he could... A lot of players could be multitaskers for his vision of football.
Mopé and Welbeck are not going to score the goals. They're not going to score enough goals.
That's what I'm saying. But they've got this new guy called Undav, who's actually the Belgian league top scorer last season. And I think they loaned him out back once they bought him. And they actually believe that this guy is going to be the guy who's going to be banging in the goals for them.
So they're just going to be the team that lingering around top 10,
I still feel
but never in
probably
top 8.
short of maybe 2 or 3 quarters.
I give you face by putting Newcastle as top 8 just because.
You're not giving me face. You're not giving me face. You're literally saying the team who knocked you out from Champions League football last season deserves to be where they are. My question to you is, Ellie, one last question. Just going to ask you this. What gives you this newfound confidence thinking Arsenal is going to be 3rd?
Actually, not just that. Like, probably we just want to get back into Champions League, and I think this is the best season to have a realistic KPI on whatever the Arteta is doing.
But 3rd.
At 3rd above Spurs, just
she really thinks they'll finish 4th, but the team that she thinks will finish 3rd, she couldn't write down. That's what it is.
I just want
she just couldn't write top.
Okay, it makes sense. Yeah.
But like, don't you believe? Don't you have that sense of confidence
I know
as well?
you guys have strengthened a lot, but I still feel.
And we're going to bring in 2 more players probably before the window closes.
I still feel Spurs and Antonio Conte. You just can't look past them. I watch Arsenal play against Crystal Palace. I'll tell you this, I'm a neutral, right? I watch Arsenal play against Crystal Palace. They were brilliant, right? But there were spells in the game, I think the last 20 minutes where Crystal Palace kind of ran them down.
They only dominated the first 20 minutes, to be honest.
Exactly.
Good football, good Arteta ball.
Did you see the Spurs-Southampton game, though?
No.
Did you see how
Highlights.
Conte's wingbacks were just
Yeah.
flying?
But here's the thing, right? That if you're being a neutral, then you would have to be a believer of this
I mean,
theory as well.
I'm trying to be
which is
objective.
like they can get the best manager, like it's Conte, but they can't stop themselves from being Spursy. So, hey, number 4 is good enough, okay? But they would
Okay, you
finish
know what?
above Chelsea. You don't agree with that?
Who's that? Sorry.
Spurs will finish above Chelsea.
Spurs will, and I think
Yeah.
Chelsea will finish above Arsenal as well. I think Chelsea will be strong.
See?
Okay, we'll see. I want to use this detail. I'm going to upload it at the
No,
end
you know
of
what?
the
Let's
season.
talk about Paul's predictions. Okay, so
No, Wolf. So what do you think about Wolf? We don't have
I
any.
mean, I don't get Wolves, Paul. Like,
They just need a striker. I think they get a striker in
Guedes,
before the
I think
window.
they brought
yeah,
him
I
in,
think
right?
Guedes is in.
Yeah.
I think they'll get the goals. I just think they're a very difficult team to beat at home. Although actually, I worry for them because they lost Cody.
exactly,
Cody's
and
gone
they're
to
playing a
Everton,
back four now.
and he's a leader. Not just on the field. He didn't play every game last year, but the voice, the vocalness in the dressing room, the strength of character that he is, that'll be a huge miss. He understands what the Premier League's about, week in and week out. He knows what that's about. So it'll be interesting to see. I watched the Leeds game at the weekend, and I thought they were poor. Leeds beat a Wolves are normally a good team, a good solid team. Depending on how they go in the next couple of weeks,
That guy Brandon Aronson,
we could maybe change that to Manchester United, maybe.